Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, and as we say, this is why you don't give senile old losers hammers, right? They say, if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, with our senile old loser in office, if the only thing you have is a tariff, then everything is going to be taxed to high hell and back. Oh, I do not understand. Anyways, before we get into the show today, do remember we have Silicon Dojo. Been talking about this quite a bit. We have our fireside chat. So I have silicondojo.com pushing these fireside chats. The idea of bringing in real technology professionals, doing real things to have a conversation. And you folks are able to ask questions, right? So we have Louis Rossman coming in on Monday. He's going to be talking about his new project. We have David Cox. He's a VP of AI models and things at IBM. He is going to be with us on Thursday. So you can go to silicondojo.com. You can register, you can RSVP, and then you can come onto the Zoom call and you can ask your questions so that they can give you their answers. You're tired of always listening to me. Eli, I'm just tired. Every time I click on one of your videos, all you do is talk. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's how YouTube videos work. Anyways, you're tired of me telling you my opinion all the time. Fair enough. I'm bringing in other technology professionals and you can listen to their opinions. You can go and take a look at silicondojo.com. Anyways, the latest thing of our coked out president from CNBC and other places too, Trump threatens extra 10% tariff on countries that align with, quote, anti-American BRICS policies. What does this mean? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? It's like the critical drinker. He has that picture of the weird white guy with the blonde hair. Who knows? I don't know. What's going on? Anyways, my God, these tariffs. We thought the tariffs were over. There was a lull in the threat of tariffs, but the tariffs are coming back. This is only one of the tariffs that are coming down the pike. Apparently, I think it's either August 1st or August 9th. All the tariffs around the world are going to go back into effect. He's now threatening 50% tariffs on copper. That's a thing. He's now threatening 200% tariffs on pharmaceuticals. And it is just tariffs. He is going to tax the ever-loving shit out of the poor people in the United States until people in other countries submit. Trump is going to beat the snot out of the American citizens until the Europeans do what he wants them to do. It's a plan, I guess. You can't say he doesn't have a plan. He has a plan, I suppose. So if you don't know BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And the idea with the BRICS bloc is it's supposed to be an economic bloc to challenge the Western economic bloc, basically United States and Europe. And the idea being, surprise, you're going to be horrified when you hear this. The idea being is that the United States and Europe tries to shove our cultural values down the throats of everybody else in the world because, we have the largest economies and they're just kind of tired of it. They're just tired of it. So they're their own little economic bloc and they try to create trade policy and do a lot of wacky stuff. Sometimes it's good. Many times it's laughable. But, on the overall, it makes sense. If you're doing investments, if you're investing, at least a while ago, there was this whole idea of you take a certain amount of your investments, a certain amount of your portfolio, and you put them into the BRICS countries. So the idea being is when you have your investing portfolio, you have, let's say, 60 to 70% in equity, you have 30% in bonds, right? And then out of the equity, then you might put a chunk of that into higher risk. So maybe not even stocks per se, but basically investing in things like startup companies and that type of deal. Higher return, possible higher return, also very possible losing all of your money. And then at some point, I don't know where it stands currently. Back when I dealt with this a lot, the idea is you put about 10% of your investment portfolio into BRICS, somewhere between 5 to 15%, depending on how old you are and that type of deal. And the idea being with the BRICS countries is, yeah, they're a lot more bat crap crazy than America or the European economies, but there's a lot more chance for upside, right? So when you invest into Brazil, Russia, India, China, or South Africa, there is a good chance all your money might go away in that investment, but there's also a good chance that it will skyrocket. I think about this: if you had invested in China 20 years ago into the right stocks in China 20 years ago, you could have a hell of a return right now because China has been growing so rapidly. So anyways, this whole BRICS bloc has been a normal thing for decades at this point in time, and basically simply a counterbalance to the US, Europe centric economic world, which makes a lot of sense. So they're having their summit right now, or they just had their summit, and I guess Trump heard about it, and he got his fee-fees hurt. And so now he's threatening a 10% tariff against anybody who aligns with the BRICS countries, because that's how America functions right now. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened an additional, so this is an additional on top of the other tariffs, tariff on countries that orient themselves along the, quote, anti-American policies of BRICS. Now think about it. If you're Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And so when you hear about this, supposedly Russia is our enemy. Fair enough. Supposedly China is our enemy. I don't know why. Damn those Chinamen selling us cheap crap. Can you believe our companies decided to go to China and set up shop? Those China people are horrible. Anyways, so you have Russia and you have China. Whether or not I agree with it, right, there's a consensus that they are our adversaries. But then you also have Brazil, and you have India, and you have South Africa that are separate from that. Again, I don't really care about any of those countries. But there's this whole push, right, with these countries where in this U.S.-centric world that so many of our policies are causing them issues. What we do with the dollar can have a dramatic effect on these countries. And when you look at these countries, again, if you have India and China, right, that's 2.5-3 billion people, right? There's something like 40% of the world's population in those two countries. So if you look at Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, you're looking at 50% of the world's population. And the policies that we create here, either good or many times god-awful, are affecting these countries in massive, dramatic ways. And especially with Trump currently in the White House, when we see these export controls and how the export controls are being used, when we see how our criminal justice system is being used, as we see the restrictions to the SWIFT transaction system, dollar system, the whole nine yards, it makes fundamental sense for them to be looking for another option. One of the things I always discuss, right, is that people will go with their best option. They may hate you, they may despise you, they may burn your flag and say, "Death to America!" But, if the dollar is very easy to use and it can be spent around the world and the whole nine yards, they'll keep using the dollar. Death to America. Is that $20.25? Here you go. Right? Here's the thing, right? When our government creates policies to make it more and more difficult for people to use us as an option, they are then going to find other options. They will use the best option. If we make our option something that they can't use anymore, they will find a different way to do things. And that's what basically BRICS is trying to do. Again, if you actually look into it, It's both sincere and comical at the same time, but it makes sense what they're trying to do. Trump's announcement, which did not elaborate on any specific policy of BRICS. So this is what Trump does. Trump's feelings get hurt, and then he's gonna punish the American people. Don't make me beat my wife, right? That's basically what he's saying. Don't make me beat the citizens of my country. You make me so angry. I'm going to abuse a poor American now. Anyways, came as the group's meeting is underway in Rio de Janeiro. The blac's leaders appeared to take aim at Trump's sweeping tariff policies in a joint statement on Sunday, warning against, quote, unjustified unilateral protectionist measures, including the indiscriminate increase of reciprocal tariffs. Yeah. Fair enough. Without calling out the U.S., the leaders voiced, quote, serious concerns about the rise of unilateral tariff and non-tariff measures which distort trade and are inconsistent with WTO rules, warning that the, quote, proliferation of trade restrictive actions threaten to disrupt the global economy and worsen the existing economic disparities. Yes. Quote, any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff. There will be no exceptions to this policy, Trump said in a post Sunday evening stateside on Truth Social. Trump could have been provoked by BRICS leaders' joint statement taking a thinly veiled swipe at his tariff policies, said Stephen Olson, former U.S. trade negotiator. By anti-American policies, the president may be referring to the desire expressed by BRICS members to move beyond a U.S.-led world order in finance and global governance, said Olson, adding how this alignment will be assessed will be anyone's guess. The bloc includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Iran. The grouping describes itself as, quote, a political and diplomatic coordination forum for countries from the global south and for coordination in the most diverse areas. The bloc seeks to challenge Western-dominated institutions of global economic governance, as well as to supplant the U.S. dollar's role in the global economy, according to Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. So anyways, the United States is being led by a bat-crap, coked-out, senile old loser. The rest of the world is concerned, and so they're trying to come up with other options, and now our senile old loser wants to punish the American people for what BRICS decides. Which, you know, sums up 2025. Oh, my golly. My golly. I'm not telling you this is a good timeline. I'm telling you it's a timeline we've got. So, yeah, it'll be curious to see how this goes, and especially with all the other tariffs coming down the pike, right? We had all the threats of tariffs, and then tariffs got backed off a lot. Apparently, it's either August 1st or August 9th. All the tariffs are going to snap back into place. On top of that, again, 50% tariff on copper, 200% tariff on pharmaceuticals. Then there's going to be this additional 10% on anti-American BRICS policies. What does this actually mean? Who knows? Who knows? You know, I got to give credit to Biden where credit is due. The one good thing about our country's first dead president is he was slow enough I could keep up with his stupid policies. Biden had some asininely stupid policies, trying to use OSHA to force Americans to be vaccinated was an asininely stupid policy, right? Putting his thumb on the CDC to say that COVID was under control so that July 4th he could come out and say, we are liberated from COVID, which hadn't actually happened. So a month later, COVID rates were going through the roof and everything got locked down again, right? It was a disastrous policy. Printing money, right? The Inflation Reduction Act, literally it was called the Inflation Reduction Act, and then Biden came out and talked about it and said it was the most significant climate change legislation that had ever been written. You're like, but it's called the Inflation Reduction Act. Here's the thing about Biden. He may have been a god-awful dead president, but, you could keep up with everything. Here's the thing about an alive coked out, senile loser of a president. Man, he is just throwing crap against the wall, and literally it is damn near impossible to follow exactly what the hell is going on. So yeah, we have this new tariff threat. What does it actually mean? Literally, who the hell knows? Literally, like, I think that's the curious thing here. What does it even mean? What is an anti-American BRICS policy? What does it mean to align with an anti-American BRICS policy? Where is the threshold for that? Who knows? Literally, who the hell knows? And this is just simply going to put ever more confusion into our economic system. And yeah, this is the shit show we have with the current administration. Just a fucking god-awful, senile piece of crap president. Doesn't even know what the fuck he's doing half the time. But anyways, good news is we've only got 3.5 more years of this. Only 3.5 more years. Oh, Lord. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Trump threatening an extra 10% tariff against anti-American BRICS policies? Do you think the BRICS countries have any other option? With how things are currently being done, do they have any other option than to disconnect from the American way of doing things? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. Remember, whether it's a good a thumb up, a thumb down, and a good comment or a horrible comment, all that matters is that it's an interaction. And in this modern world, the only thing of value is an interaction. So do something down below. And with that, I'm gonna go have a cry. See y'all later.